Everyone, happy Monday, and I hope everyone is doing well. Today we have a very special presentation from MSU Denver's Advanced Manufacturing Sciences Institute. But before we do that, two things. We ask that you continue to put your name and affiliation in the chat, and I will pass it to Matt Bogosian for some updates. So Matt, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Michelle Burris from the Century Foundation, one of our many BFFs. Thanks for the introduction. This is AMCC's national 30-minute call, same time every week at 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain Time, where we are here today in Denver, and 8:30 Pacific Time. It's May 12th, 2025. I'm Matt Bogosian, Executive Director of AMCC. And this is David Van Sicklen, our operations director. And as I was just telling these folks here in Colorado, and as you know, we do two things every week with, by, and for regions across the country on their manufacturers and their manufacturing ecosystem of support, and all the BFFs that we have out there, local, state, federal governments, NGOs, think tanks, intermediaries, service companies, manufacturers, all in one. Those two things are the AMCC weekly call, this call, and then at the end of the week, the AMCC update newsletter that depends on all you good people sending us information that we curate and put out there to make smarter products that solve problems and improve the human condition. So like Michelle said, if you please put your info in chat and use the chat. Chat's a great tactic for these efficient 30-minute calls. So you can share information, announcements, whatever. Some of that stuff ends up into the AMCC update. And so this call, right? So for those people new to AMCC, we generally have two flavors of Monday calls. One is a presentation call. Other times it's just a roundtable. This is kind of like a hybrid here we've got going on because we're going to hear about what's happening in Colorado. And then just talk. And so last week we had our new BFFs from the Employee Ownership Exchange Network. We have this big challenge, the silver tsunami, so to speak. Our friends at MEP will often talk about that. We have 250,000 manufacturers across the country, and many of them are aging out. We need to solve for that, which is a great opportunity. Because we've got to innovate at those manufacturers with new technologies in key industries. And we, like last week, we put out our framework of what key industries, the six: defense, energy, transportation, agriculture, IT, and health. And there's all these listings of the new technologies. We've got the manufacturing institutes, Manufacturing USA institutes that are which are assets to apply those new technologies. But we need to move farther, faster on that. We're having a Manufacturing Momentum Summit in Detroit, August 4th through the 7th, which is sponsored by DoD and our friends at the Center for Regional Economic Competitiveness, CREC. And that's going to include many of the Manufacturing USA institutes, because we've got to take advantage of those investments. How do we weave those together in regions around the country, helping our manufacturers and hopefully new manufacturers, hopefully those in the next generation, maybe even employees, right? To take over those companies, update those technologies, and make smarter products that solve problems and improve the human condition. And so, those manufacturers need an ecosystem of support. We reviewed last week, the Big Six. David could put in the chat the link to our page on the Big Six. This goes back 10 years, the hypothesis and what's connected to creating a manufacturing community ecosystem exchange metrics tool and playbook. A lot of good work going on there for regions to self-assess the component parts of their ecosystem so that they can address gaps and barriers to helping their manufacturers and key industries thrive. So that work continues on, and it's important. It's kind of like life cycle analysis, peeling the onion back, trying to create stronger correlations between all of the various interventions that we have in a region and the outcomes that we're trying to produce. It's complex system science, but we're on the way. Thanks to you all working together and building trust amongst each other. And that's why we're here in Colorado to talk with folks here on AMCC's roadshow visits, where we co-create meetings. We call it co-create with the stakeholders that are already there, to talk about what we've learned and hear mostly from what they're doing in their regional ecosystem of support, ecosystem of support. Sorry, David. Specifically, we are at the Metropolitan State University of Denver's Advanced Manufacturing Sciences Institute to talk with our Colorado friends. Special thanks to Barbara Pinnell Janes for organizing and Mark Yos for hosting us. Thank you very much. And let me, I should also say before I turn it to you, Barbara, for introductions and hear about what's going on here in Colorado. After today's meeting, we're going to be with our partners at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. They have a NREL Partners Forum. So there's a lot of stakeholders there, DoD and other public-private nonprofit stakeholders. So looking at advanced energy technologies in regions across the country. So we'll report back on how that meeting goes in no doubt in the AMCC update at the end of the week. And then the last thing before I turn to you, Barbara, is we always like to have a couple of people online introduce themselves in the ecosystem of support, either if they're new to say where they are in the ecosystem, what they're working on very briefly, or if somebody wants to reintroduce themselves. So let's have a couple of folks. You know, I call on people, so get ahead of it and raise your hand. Let's see. Do we have any volunteers? I see some. Tracy, Inez, I see you on camera. Can you say hi? Where are you?
Sure. Good morning. My name is Tracy Yanez. I'm with Accelerate Mississippi, which is our state office for workforce development. I'm the coordinator for Ecosystem 8 in our state, which is the lower 11 counties. A big focus in my area is the defense and shipbuilding area. As a matter of fact, we just saw each other at ATDM in Danville, which was a great visit and great learning experience to see that. So
thank you, Tracy. That's awesome. Man, Mississippi, their state government model of breaking the state into these ecosystem regions, and Tracy represents one of those. Fantastic. We had a great roadshow throughout Mississippi. They're really leaning in on this bottom-up approach. Thanks for being on, Tracy. And then from up in Massachusetts, Ben Linville Engler.
Thanks, Matt. Great to meet you guys. Trying to get my camera on here. Ben Linville Engler, Deputy Director and Chief Investment Strategist at the Massachusetts Technology Collaborative, where we lead the state's efforts in emerging technologies, advanced manufacturing technologies, and a host of other things, including one of the 8 DoD-funded CHIPS Microelectronics Commons hubs. Raised my hand because after I grew up in Kansas, I moved to outside of Denver into Golden, Colorado. So wanted to say hello to the folks at Metro State. And Matt, if you run into anybody out from Golden at NREL, tell them I say hi.
Will do, Ben. Ben's been a long time BFF of AMCC, doing good work around this complex system science approach, right? And we are getting our arms around it, right? So we should have more confidence, but it's going to take a lot more teamwork. Building trust is a crucial part of it. Actually, up in New England, Marshall Gans at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard has a book out that lays out kind of 5 key activities to get to the kind of better structuring we need. That's the 5th. It takes a while to get to structuring, right? We need new ways to strengthen our muscles, but how do we get to structuring those new ways? We got to build relationships of trust. You know, we've got to build common narratives. We've got to build common strategies, co-create activities bottom up to get to those better structures. And so that's a pretty good framework for telling the story about what AMCC and all of us, our BFFs and all of our regional leaders are doing here together. So without any further ado, Barbara, welcome, and tell folks around the country about you, how we got connected, and then we can talk about some of these things. Yeah.
Well, David and Matt, thanks for being here with us in Denver. We really appreciate this opportunity to showcase our amazing manufacturing in Colorado. And I lead a grant collaborative coalition here, and you're going to meet some of my partners in that grant collaborative, and we're going to talk about what we do. And I'm going to talk about that at the end after you get to hear about these amazing and talented people. So we're going to start with our incredible host, Mark Yost, and he's wearing 2 hats today because he's got that much talent.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all coming to Colorado and appreciate the opportunity. The Advanced Manufacturing Sciences Institute was established in 2017 with a $1 million endowment from Lockheed Martin. At that time, they had a big need for manufacturing engineers, test engineers, quality engineers, and needed a pipeline. And we were able to establish the first in the nation, we're going to claim, Advanced Manufacturing Sciences baccalaureate degree. Maybe some other schools that are gonna say they were first, but it'd be tough to prove it. And we have 3 floors of labs here in this building, close to 40,000 square feet of lab capability. Lots of good equipment that our students learn on. In the building, in addition to Advanced Manufacturing Sciences, we've got an engineering and engineering technology department, industrial design and computer science. And on the 4th floor here, we've got York Space Systems, a local Colorado satellite manufacturer, and they wind up hiring a good number of interns and graduates along the way. What I wanted to hit next then was this Industry 4.0 Center of Excellence at Auraria. We proposed to our Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade under their Advanced Industries Collaborative Infrastructure Grant, the MXD of the Rocky Mountains. So we were going to crack the code on a handful of technologies and then be a demonstration capability for local manufacturers to come in, see how it's done. Take a student back with them to their home shop to implement it, and the company becomes more competitive. Maybe the student gets a full-time job, and then we want to try to grow a revenue stream around that. To start off with, it's just, sales commissions off of whether or not the companies buy that software. But we were focused off the bat with augmented reality and health monitoring, condition monitoring of machines. We wanted to do some digital twin stuff, and we just couldn't get to agreement on terms and conditions to buy the software. So that was definitely a lesson learned. And then most recently, the Economic Development Administration has designated us as a university center. So we added in another tentacle to our toolbox around artificial intelligence, machine learning, and 3D metal printing. We trying to build a nice big database and see if we can't create that one magic algorithm that's going to make sure we always get the surface finish that we are predicting off of metal. And then finish up here with a new initiative that we're just getting underway around stackable credentials. So there's the national Big Blur initiative, blurring the lines between high school and college. Well, how do we just get people the credentials they need to get into the work world, maybe have some entry and exit points along the way, keep stacking credentials. We've got a plan then to award academic credit for up to 46 credit hours towards a 120-hour bachelor's degree through using SACA, the Smart Automation Certification Alliance, in conjunction with Amatrol and their self-paced e-learning and their simulators. So, a student takes a written exam, they take a proctored exam, and they wind up being awarded a credential, and will grant credit towards that, towards the degree. And then on the back end, we've got some operations management, self-paced online programming as well. 120 hours, and you're ready to become a manufacturing engineer. I'll take a breath there. Did I stay under my 3 minutes? We'll switch horses.
No, it's great to hear about the University Center. So I was mentioning this Manufacturing Momentum Summit, August 4th through 7th in Detroit. That's sponsored by CREC. the Center for Regional Economic Competitiveness, that is trying to help get the University Center program across the country into a better state. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned, just like, we are, it's another thread in the ecosystem. How do we make the most of that intervention? So it'd be, are you dealing with those other university centers? Is there a model one that you've got, oh, those guys are cool, I'm gonna follow them? Tell us about that, yeah.
Well, we did just have the Denver Regional Conference here, and I also had the good fortune to bring a busload of people that were attending that here for a tour of the building. Jane Reimer is our leader of university centers, and she brought together a breakout session for all the university center leadership that was in town, and certainly learned a lot from them. At this point, we haven't jumped on board to try to follow in anybody else's footsteps. We were trying to find our own way, and since we've just got the one technology that we're working on underneath the EDA grant.
Yeah, it would be good to see how that plays out. Sorry, I jumped in there, but that's what happens on these calls, right? Yeah.
No, it's okay. Mark's gonna talk about his second hat now, which is Colorado Advanced Manufacturing Association that he leads.
So that is also new, and when she says leads, CAMA was established in 2012 and has been around since then. There's over 3,000 manufacturers across the state of Colorado, so it's the trade association for the state. It's a membership model, you've got different values that you pay depending on how many employees or whether or not you're associate member. And the president of CAMA, Tim Heaton, has recently moved on to another assignment, so we're actually sitting in the CAMA suite here on the 4th floor of the Aerospace and Engineering Sciences building, where we share space between Advanced Manufacturing Sciences Institute and CAMA. So now that left opportunity for us and the system director here, Shannon Rowe, to take on some administration of CAMA. And well, back to the volunteer thing, it'll be volunteer, but hopefully we've got a good number of members that'll join committees and help us with, member to member sales, and then the primary benefits of being a member is events. There's a monthly membership call where there's some topic similar to what you're doing here. Quarterly event where we'll go and visit a manufacturer and get a tour. And then annually a summit, manufacturing summit, where we try to bring, people together and share activities. There's an advocacy thread where, look at federal and state legislative and policy and how that affects manufacturers. Talent marketplace with a website for both candidates and employers where you can try to, have some matching going on.
Hey, Mark, I'm gonna jump in there. We got 3 more people and we got 10 minutes left. That's the way this goes.
I'm ready. Move on. Thank you.
So Deborah Wilcox from our Colorado Space Business Roundtable is up next.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for coming, Matt and David. I'm Deborah Wilcox. I'm the chair of the Colorado Space Business Roundtable. And we do have a surprisingly large number of space manufacturers here in Colorado. A recently published list of the largest manufacturers in Colorado. 5 of those were space manufacturers. So we do a lot of things. If you think of space, you have both hardware and software. And we have all of those kinds of people here. And we have a lot of also supply chain that supports manufacturing. So that includes over 600, I believe, different smaller businesses here in Colorado that make parts that then go to the moon or a rocket or a satellite. So those are all very important. We've also recently opened the Colorado Space Institute at a local community college, Arapahoe Community College. One of the focuses there will be space manufacturing. Remember, when we're manufacturing for space, it can't be good enough. It has to be right. If it's going to go to space, we can't just cut corners. So we're really focused on that level of manufacturing, and we will be working closely with MSU and our other institutions here to make sure that students of all ages have the opportunity to join space and space manufacturing here in Colorado.
That's great.
And then we have the amazing Shannon Rowe with Women in Manufacturing.
Hello, everyone. So not only am I with AMSI, I am Vice Chair of Women in Manufacturing Colorado. Been with the organization 4 years. It's a national organization. You can see the data statistics here. We're all over the country, and in other countries as well. So here in Colorado, we specifically focus on networking events and factory tours where women and our sometimes male allies join us as well. We love that. Really, it's just events to learn about what's happening in different manufacturers throughout Colorado, as well as provide just time and space for women in different industries to come together and get to know one another and have that kind of community of support. So thank you, Barbara, for having me.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm Barbara Canal James and my company is positively funded and I do fractional business development in manufacturing, aerospace and defense across the country. And through my sector partnership work that I do across the country, I found AMCC, which is integral to what we do. I brought these amazing people together as well as Rocky Mountain Machine and Tooling Association. And we have a grant collaborative where one of us couldn't write a grant, but 2 or 3 of us together could write that grant to support manufacturing. And I serve as the community member at large to support that grant. And it's amazing. It's a really special ecosystem here in Colorado because we really respect and support each other. We actually like each other. We come to each other's events, we promote each other, there's no competition. And this helps us to thrive and grow. We also have NOCO here, which is our Northern Colorado Manufacturing Sector Partnership. And with a group of volunteers that I've been with for years, we put on our trade expo every year. So through our amazing organizations and volunteering and our support of each other, that's how we come together. And we need your grant list, ma'am. That's part of what we do. We pick that apart every single week, so we appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I was hearing from Roger. Roger, tell folks who you are and when your convening is going to be. Yeah.
Sure. So I'm Roger Nakagawa. I'm with Interstates. We do industrial electrical construction, automation, OT, analytics, and manufacturing. And so because of our manufacturing arm, we're able to hold a seat on the board of directors for the Northern Colorado Manufacturing Sector Partnership. So with that, this year there's been a big initiative from NOCOM, as we're branded, to number one, revamp the trade show to be a little more regional. We have folks coming down from Wyoming, coming in from Nebraska, coming up north from Colorado Springs, Pueblo from the West Slope. So it's no longer just the Northern Colorado Manufacturing Trade Show. It's now the Rocky Mountain Advanced Manufacturing Expo. It's a 2-day event, October 7th and 8th, Tuesday and Wednesday, October 7th and 8th. So we're getting the marketing material out for that as well as the signups, but that's coming up here shortly. And then another thing we'll be rolling out shortly as well is something called the Colorado Manufacturing Happy Hour. So NOCOM's big initiative this year has been kind of getting a more collaborative voice among all of the different organizations and associations throughout Colorado. And so hopefully that'll be a nice head start towards kind of uniting us all together in the state.
And so AMCCers, we've got friends here in Colorado, share your lessons with them, and Coloradans, share your lessons with the rest of the country. We got to move farther, faster, and we're lucky also to have the MEP here from Colorado. Tell us what's going on there.
So Rob Newbold with the Colorado Manufacturers Edge, Colorado's MEP. We are working hard to collaborate and be a participant in all of these things. We're working through some workforce funding, both from a local foundation and from our national organization to help employers really focus on how to be an employer of choice, how they can really set themselves up, build the processes within their facility to be an employer of choice, and then take advantage of great things that are happening in Colorado, like apprenticeships and other educational opportunities, but then, grow their own in essence.
And Rob's talking about apprenticeships, of course, workforce being one of the big 6 elements of the ecosystem of support in a region, that all elements of that have to be operating sufficiently for the regional manufacturers to thrive. Workforce, of course, is a big dominant one, and getting people into that pipeline. Kat, tell folks what you do. Yeah.
So I'm with the Colorado Apprenticeship Hub. We are actually located within the workforce system as well, managed by Arapahoe Douglas Works. I'm here today because one of the programs that I've helped establish was RMTMA's apprenticeship program in 2021. We recently revamped it with the help of the Virginia Manufacturers Association. We found a really cost-effective way to access Tooling U and also some funding. So I'll get you that for your newsletter as well. That's available nationally, as well as I've been involved with talking with Course Tech and Barbara Nichols before they developed their local apprenticeships as well.
Great, awesome. A perfect example, right, of cross-regional collaboration. That's what these regions in AMCC have discovered, and we're adding value to it right as we speak. So that's great, Kat. Thank you very much. Barbara?
Thanks again, guys, for being here. And my pearls of wisdom to the rest of you out there is come together as a team. There's strength in numbers and we need each other right now. And come together and collaborate and don't step on each other.
Great, everyone. So any questions for our friends here in Colorado? I'm looking at the wrong place. All right. Any questions for our friends here in Colorado? We heard from Ben Linville Engler, spending some time out here. Any questions, any comments? Oh, we have something in the chat. I gotta look over here. Does the Colorado Initiative have CODEL support and state legislature support?
Probably Department of Labor and Employment.
Yeah. Right, so that's from Alan Baker in Hampton Roads, Virginia. So they're really focused on the shipbuilding industry. And one of the things that we've learned over the course, we need all parts of the ecosystem to lean in. One key player in the ecosystem of support is state government. So what our state governments do in the AMCC update, we report out that all the time. There's some innovative things happening around the country that we report out. We've partnered with the National Governors Association to talk about that in webinars or whatever. So this AMCC community of practice can really help other states have really interesting models that your state can look at and say, hey, like Connecticut, we talk a lot about that. They have a chief manufacturing officer in the state government. The state of California just created this economic blueprint, which they broke their state up into 13 sub-regions, and each one of them now have SEDS plans. So it's comprehensive, bottom up with an industrial manufacturing component part. That's another tactic. We heard from Mississippi. They've broken up their state into the different regional ecosystem approaches. What did you say, 10? You got Dean. Oh, Dean Bartles, please.
I just wanted to let you know there's also a great consortium out of the Colorado School of Mines. It's called ADAPT. It's the Additive Manufacturing Consortium there. They do tremendous research. I happen to be the chair of the Industry Advisory Board currently, and I've been going out there now for a couple of years. But if you want to learn about additive manufacturing, especially metal additive manufacturing, it's a great place to go.
Yeah, Dean is got a long history in being an outstanding systems leader, really, for manufacturing. He put his email address on there, so I'd reach out to him on that front. You know Dean.
Yeah, we're leveraging their test equipment to get the surface measurements on our specimens. So, yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah, Greg Bryce, a great partner.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we try to keep right on time here. Michelle, why don't you close it out?
Yes, happy to. Well, thank you so much to our friends in Colorado for the wonderful presentation. Everyone, we look forward to seeing you back here on next Monday, May 19th, and wishing everyone a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you so much.